Trusting in love, in care, but I know the truth is out there. The truth and the truth tellers. Oh, Julian, set him free, set him free, set him free. Ooh.
We stand on land that was never ceded, land of the reliable people of the Bones Nation.
Set him free, set him free. Oh,
Julian Assange's dad said that it was here that the genius of Julian grew, from the soil that's here in this country, not Australia, but Witjabawaiba country, at the foot of Banyan-Bygum.
Julian, like John Lennon, brave and true hero.
I'm very passionate about educating people about what's actually going on and how to critically analyse news. And nowhere is that more important than when we're looking at the case of Julian Assange, and also David McBride is facing sentence in a couple of weeks.
David McBride was filled with pride when he joined the Australian Army.
What we're seeing in Julian's case and other cases, Kaleri, McBride and whatnot, and all around the world, is we're seeing the criminalisation of truth. These people are the messengers, and they always have been the messengers of truth. And they're the people that governments constantly want to get out of the way so they can speak their own, well, it's not called truth, it's called propaganda. That's why this case is so important, because if we don't have reporters giving us the truth, we have politicians giving us their version, and that's propaganda. And if we don't have free speech, and if we're threatened with jail and death by process, then we're not living in a democracy anymore. And they're really, really serious issues that we need to start talking about beyond here today. And I have no doubt, we know that this revolution of Julian Assange started right here in Witjabawaiba country.
Y'all listen up, I got a story to tell about Julian Assange, a man who fell into the depths of a system that's corrupt. They tried to silence him, but he stood up. A WikiLeaks, his weapon of choice, exposing secrets, giving power voice. But they couldn't handle the truth that he revealed, so try to come after him, make him yield. Julian Assange, locked in a cell, modern day hero, trapped in a hell. But we won't forget, we won't let him fade. Gotta fight for freedom, that's the crusade.
Julian, he's on day 2 of the appeal hearing in the UK royal courts. I think the court will be very cautious about looking like they've made a decision on the run, but they could very easily say, we've made a decision, the appeal is denied, therefore he can be extradited, and we'll deliver our judgment, written judgment, on a later date.
Ecuadorian embassy to Belmarsh prison.
And if that's the case, then he could be, bundled up in a van and extradited. And once he's in the hands of the US, well, we all know it's too late.
Won't stop fighting till he sees the daylight.
Maybe got an opportunity to appeal in the European Court of Human Rights, but as we're seeing more and more these days, even with the ICJ to an extent, those courts as well are becoming politicised. It would be a very, very frightening decision if the appeal is denied. He will face trial in the Eastern District of Virginia. They are, intelligence officials in the US and their families, so that's where the jury pool is going to come from. So there's a grave concern that Julian is not going to get a fair trial at all.
Need to step up, recognise the sacrifice and lift him up.
I wish that we were preoccupied with peace and not war. I wish that we were preoccupied with promoting transparency and truth and not secrets and lies. Do what we can here and not give up, because I think that's the message that Julian is telling us all.
Trapped in a hell, but we won't forget, we won't let him fade. Gotta fight for freedom, that's the crusade.
We have music, and that is like an ancient form of communication. We've got to keep trying to speak to as many musicians in the world that we can to really get on board this campaign.
For justice for Assange.
It's not too late. It's never too late. We have to keep talking about it because the issue of the shutdown of free speech and journalism should send a chill through everyone's backsides.
This is a story about a journalist named Julian Assange who told the truth.
That's our job as educators when we leave here, to make sure we get the facts out there. It's our children's futures that are at stake. I don't want my child, my 10-year-old, to grow up thinking it's okay to lie. It's better to lie. I don't want him to think that he has to keep secrets. I don't want him to think that he's going to go to jail for telling the truth. But that's actually what he's learning at the moment. It's being accepted as an entrenched because our own Prime Minister is doing nothing about it. Both governments have had 5 years since the warrant for extradition was executed by the US. 5 years, but 5 days before the appeal hearing, suddenly Anthony Albanese and his colleagues are signing a statement that they didn't even lead on, that they didn't even bring to Parliament, that someone else, Minister Wilkie, brought, who's been a fantastic advocate for Assange for many, many years.
You can hear the soldiers laughing and joking as they watch them run.
It is time, Anthony Albanese, for megaphone politics. We are done with the supposed conversations that are happening behind closed doors, because as we recently discovered through a subpoena, there was no conversation happening at all. We were told there was and there wasn't, and we knew there wasn't. So it's time to publicly denounce the extradition of Julian Assange, and that's what we all need to be doing when we leave here. We need to be calling for that. We need to be demanding of our politicians to stand up, speak up on the megaphone very publicly that this value of free speech is at the crux of our entire democracy. And if that goes, who are making the decisions? Who is able to speak freely? It's not you and I. It's a few people in Parliament or the vested interests that fill their pockets with political donations.
Because those criminals started a war those civilians didn't ask for. Because those criminals started a war for the oil and the spoils those civilians didn't ask for. Because those criminals started a war for the oil and the spoils that they should be tried for.